Hello and welcome to the Doom Boomer. I'm Conroy Pitt, and as often as I have time, I like to vlog about doom, specifically the existential threats that face us all. For the past 80 years or so, madmen with nukes have been our most pressing existential issue. Vlad Putin is just one in a long line of Karens with atomic weapons. While he beats the hell out of Ukraine, he backs off concerned neighbors with the threat of his big guns. If one wanted to find the root cause of this conflict, I think nationalism, as usual, is the main culprit. Vlad is about the richest person in the world, or at least he was before the sanctions, and he cares little about the actual welfare of the people of Russia or the Ukraine. So this isn't economically motivated. He cares about his legacy. He wants to be Vlad the Conqueror, while the intelligentsia in St. Petersburg and Moscow suffer through lack of McDonald's and Starbucks. The hayseeds in the hinterland, just like our rural folk, are possessed by national pride. They want to show the world how superior Russian culture is by slapping around Ukraine. I'm not sure Russian nationalism is substantively different than nationalism anywhere else. An official Kremlin document entitled The Foreign Policy Concept of the Russian Federation, updated in 2008, lists as the promotion of an objective image of the Russian Federation globally and promoting the Russian language and Russian people's culture among its priorities in foreign policy. Fair enough. Pride in one's culture and country and making efforts to promote it on the world stage is what countries do. Many nationalist movements, both radical and moderate, have arisen in modern Russia. One of the more radical ultra-nationalist movements is Russian National Unity, a far-right group that organizes paramilitary brigades of its younger members, similar to the Proud Boys, perhaps. The rise of radical nationalism in modern Russia is considered to be a result of the humiliation felt after the fall of the Soviet Union. Perhaps like Germany's sentiment after the First World War. It is also alleged that the FSB, Russia's intelligence service, selectively uses nationalist extremism to drive sentiment in society in desired directions. A play Donald Trump used, if you recall him telling the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by, but I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing.
The financial crisis starting in 2008 and 2009 helped trigger anti-immigration sentiment worldwide. As Russians became increasingly concerned with competing for jobs with immigrants in the domestic workforce and worried that if they weren't successful in getting jobs, they would turn to crime. With the fall of the Soviet Union and the privileged status of Russians in Soviet society, post-Soviet states rejected Russian nationality and Soviet symbols as symbols of occupation and embraced anti-Russian sentiment. Following the 2014 military intervention in Ukraine, United Russia has increasingly relied on Russian nationalism for support. Politicians like Vladimir Zhirinovsky started denying Ukrainian ethnicity. At the same time, the ruling party cultivated close ties with Eurosceptics, far right and far left political movements, supporting them financially. And we can see the results of those funding efforts in USA radical groups and the outright ownership of many USA politicians by Russia. In spite of repression by governmental authorities, the far-right extremist movement has established itself in Russia. Ukrainians in Russia have been largely integrated. Ukrainians have played a significant position in Russian history. I keep going back to the analogy of Canada and the United States. Canadians can and have integrated seamlessly into USA culture and can be fairly indistinguishable. Although Canadians can still manage to hold on to a sense of national identity while being fully immersed in USA culture. Soviet leaders Konstantin Chernenko and Mikhail Gorbachev also had some ancestral connections to Ukraine. In addition, Russia's biggest opposition politician is also of Ukrainian origin, as well as being a potential Russian nationalist. So Russian nationalism isn't that hard to understand. Nationalism is nationalism. It's an easy way to take pride in things that you didn't actually have to work at yourself. If your character and identity are based on your skin color and where you were born, then you just have to show up and your job is done. That brings us to the Z on the Russian vehicles and tanks entering the Ukraine. It has apparently become a symbol for the latest surge in Russian pride in bombing Ukrainian maternity hospitals. Does it have any meaning beyond the tactical markings for the invasion? Z is not a letter in the Cyrillic alphabet. If it's a signal to the West, it may stand for the first letter for the word Zapad for West. It might stand for their ultimate target, Vladimir Zelensky. The sign has started to trend in Russia, seen on signs and clothing. Aerial photos of some 60 children and their families forming the shape of the letter Z. And a Russian athlete wore a Z on his chest. He told Russian media, "I would do it again. I saw our military was wearing it, and I looked at what the symbol represents. As an athlete, I will always fight for victory, and I will play for peace." Zavat means tomorrow, the name of the Russian nationalist newspaper, and an outline of the Russian-controlled future. Andrei Fedorov writes, "In these harsh, epical days, the Russian army, having overcome the most severe resistance, radically and firmly solves the key problem, the issue of Russia's strategic security. However, our warriors, without knowing it themselves, are also shifting the great border between East and West. They create a new configuration of the world and punch a corridor to the future. They are destroying the greatest anti-system in history, the notorious Western globalism with all its diabolical traits." So there you have it. Sort of like the half-assed swastikas teen vandals try to spray paint on buildings, the Russians are rolling into Ukraine, full of pride and their Z's as they shell civilian neighborhoods and dumb bomb hospitals. I wonder if the letter Z will be ruined forever, like the swastika. That's it for now. We're still here. I'll try to bring you another Doom Boomer next time, if there is a next time.